Alright, so here we are, 3.4b, slope-intercept form of a line. This is the second video, so it's therefore B. And we're going to modify a line to get into slope-intercept form. Remember, the whole idea of slope-intercept form is that using slope-intercept form is a good idea because we can get some information out of it, out of the slope-intercept format of a line. In other words, we can get slope and we can get intercept, and from there we can graph a line. So we're going to try to, in general, always put our lines into the format of slope-intercept so we can get the information out that we need to be able to graph that line a lot quicker. So to that end, we're going to modify some lines here. So we're going to go through stuff that we've seen. Here's our slope-intercept form. Right here is our slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. We're going to always try and get it into that format from something like this, whether the x's and y's are on the same side, or the x's on that side, or the y's on that side. Wherever the x's and y's are, we're always going to try and put the y over here. 1y equals everything else over here, mx and b, so that we can get the m out of it, the slope m, and the b to give us our slope-intercept, or the intercept point. So remember, at the very end of the last video, down here I said, oh, by the way, this is kind of foreshadowing. If we have any equation of a line, we can modify it to put it into that slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and try and do that. Right here is that same paragraph. So if we have any equation of a line, we can modify it to put it into slope-intercept form, and that's what we're going to do, so we can get out our slope and our intercept. So this is going to be our goal, y equals mx plus b. So if you're setting up your study guide, I said it before and I'll say it again. Number one, set up a study guide. Number two, add this to your study guide so we can get out the slope and we can get out the b, which will give us the part of the slope or the intercept form, or the intercept of the line with the y-axis. So here's our directions. Write these lines in slope-intercept form, and if you haven't figured it out, look for the verbs in any mathematical question. This one says write in slope-intercept form, and here, by the way, is a slope-intercept form. So our directions are write it in slope-intercept form. Well, here, this is in standard form. We got ax plus by equals c. It's a plus -2, by the way, but it really is immaterial because right now all we're trying to do is write it into slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. That means put the y term all by itself on the one side of the equal sign, and everything else goes to the other side. So from chapter 2, I believe, we said if we want to isolate the y term, we move the 5x term to the other side. We've got subtract 5x here. We've got to add 5x on the left side. If we add 5x on the left side, we've got to add 5x on the right side. So what do we have left? Go through the original and find out what we've modified and what's left over. Minus 5x plus 5x goes away. We got minus 2y equals 6 plus 5x. And oh, by the way, I'm just going to modify this to say minus 2y equals 5x plus 6, just because we can kind of move these around because we're just adding them together. 1 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 1, right? So we're just going to move it here because we're used to seeing things in the mx plus b format here, mx plus b. Now we're not quite done yet because we can't have just the y term over here. We've got to have 1 times the y term over here. And right now we've got -2 times the y coefficient, or the y variable here. So in order to get rid of that -2, we've got to divide by -2. So now the coefficient here, -2 divided by -2, gives me 1y, and that's what we're looking for. So now we divide each term, or we divide the entire side or each term by -2. So on the left side, -2y divided by -2 is positive 1y, and we'll just write it as y because we don't have to put the positive there. We don't have to put the 1 there if it's not really needed. 5 divided by -2, or 5x divided by -2, in terms of the numbers, 5 divided by -2 is -5 halves x. Positive 6 divided by -2 is positive divided by negative is negative. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So write it in slope-intercept form, and then, oh, by the way, find the slope and the y-intercept. All right, well, I tell you what, if we're looking for slope and y-intercept, I'm going to write down y equals mx plus b, so I can find out what my, number one, what my slope is. Slope equals -5 halves, because that's the number that's in front of the x term. My b is equal to negative 3, because positive b is equal to negative 3, so therefore my y-intercept that we're looking for happens when x equals 0, and the b term goes over here, negative 3. So there's what we're looking for. We're not just looking for number 1, writing it in slope-intercept form, which we did, but that was the first step. The second step was find the slope and find the y-intercept. So there's our two answers, actually 3 answers. Slope-intercept form and slope and intercept. All right, so I'm going to invite you to pause the video here and do this one on your own if you haven't done so already. So pause it and let's see what you can do. All right, I hope you can't hear the kids in the background. I'm recording in the basement, and they're playing some Wii games over there. So here's what we're starting with. 2x minus 6y equals negative 3. We could have started with the y term over here, the x term over here. Both of these are kind of, this one and this one are both kind of in the standard equation of a line, ax plus by equals c. But we could have changed, or sorry, equals c. We could have started with any type of, or I guess any modification of this line, and modified it to get to our y-intercept or slope-intercept form. So again, write these lines in slope-intercept form. Here's a line. We're going to write it into y equals mx plus b. So we keep the y term on the left side and we move everything else over. How do we do that? Well, let's subtract 2x here. Subtract 2x on the right side as well. See what's changed. 2x minus 2x is 0, goes away. Minus 6y is still there, equals negative 2x minus 3. And I'm just going to write the 2x term first just because it's what we're kind of used to here in our slope-intercept form. So now we've got negative 6y, and I want, for slope-intercept form, I want 1y. So just divide by negative 6, divide the right side by negative 6, and what do we have? I got y equals negative 2 divided by negative 6 is a positive 1/3 x. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 3 divided by 6 is 1/2. And 3 divided by 6 is just simply, we can reduce 3/6 to 1/2. We can reduce 2/6 to 1/3. So now, if I'm looking to compare to my slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, well, what information can I get out of it? Slope m equals that number that's right in front of the x, that's 1/3. And this is only true if the coefficient in front of the y is 1, which it is. We did that by dividing by that negative 6. So there's our slope. And we can also say that b equals 1/2 because it's in this blue line. We've modified it to get it into slope-intercept form to pull out the slope and to pull out the b. B is 1/2, so therefore our our y-intercept happens when x is equal to 0 and the y term is 1/2. So there's our answer. Again, 3 answers. That one, slope-intercept form, and slope and intercept.